Hi, Davi here. Today we have a new episode in the art review series, and today we'll be checking out the work of. Well, let's go back to their page here on X or Twitter. Let me just scroll back up. Their name is ha, or let me just try and translate this via Google Translate. Hyon, or ha underscore 5945. So I did find this artist first via this specific post. Let me just open this in a new tab. Wait, is my camera okay? Oh, let's try this. Sorry. Can you see it? There you go. Yeah, I just like whenever I see these types of like sheets where you have a bunch of different drawings. Some are like just line work only, and then you can see how some are more colored, more rendered. It just feels more like an organic sort of page, and definitely a little more engaging than say like a character sheet, which like you see the front view of the character, the back view. It's kind of boring when you look at those types of sheets, but when you look at these types of pages, it's just a lot more fun. You have some chibis over here, some cute sort of like baby-esque characters or chibis. And yeah, I just like the vibe, right, of this. So, although their posts on X or Twitter, they're kind of varied style-wise. Like when I clicked on this, I expected more images to be of this kind, but they do have a varied set of, maybe not styles. I don't think it's a style difference. I think it's more of like how much they choose to spend time on that thing, because some are more like sketches and some feel more like full-on illustrations, and this is a good example of like a full-on sort of painting or illustration. Okay, right. You can tell it's also super big, so it kind of makes sense why they would render it to this extent. Like this is wallpaper level or print level, right? Now, if you look at their brushwork, I think they're using basic brushes. I don't see a lot of texture in their work. I think it's like a basic round brush. Even the line work, I think there is a little bit of that opacity if you really zoom in. And I think it's because they're gonna spend a lot of time rendering this thing. So you're gonna see lots and lots of colors kind of being overlaid on top of each other. So if you add like more texture, I think you're just overwhelming the viewer at that point. But with this, I think they're holding some kind of a talisman, right? Pretty cool. Look at this Terminator line over here. Very interesting. They decided to just make it like a hard line, and then you compare this, like this line over here, to this one where it's more of a soft, blurred out distinction, right? I love the eyes, very sort of vibrant, saturated, pretty. Yeah, I'm seeing lots of reds in the hair as well, like over here, even some lines here and there. Like for paintings or illustrations like these, I think you can't just be a one layer kind of person for this type of thing. You have to be a bit more like, I think it's its own technique, like the kinds of layering system you use with the layer modes, sort of decided on. What am I saying? The point is a lot. Like this takes a lot of work. Basically, it's almost, I consider these types of illustrations more of as a project, even though it's just one piece, because of the amount of like layering that you need to do. It's basically like you would have to spend at least like a full day on this thing. Let me go back, because I think I found, like, I believe I opened with that image. Wait, let me open this one too. Pretty cool. This one is not a full illustration, or maybe it could be just because of how clean it is, but when you do zoom in, if you look at the line work, it's still kind of loose, kind of sketchy, but it's not cluttered with too many lines, right? It's a bit toned back. I mean, look at this line for the nose. It's not just one line, right? I do often see artists do this. I think in the previous art review, we talked about this. How some people or artists will use like 2 lines or double lines to illustrate like an edge. It does create a more sketchy look, but it's not too cluttered because it's only 2. Like if you make it 3 or 4, I think you're doing too much. Same thing here for the bottom part of the eye. It just adds a little bit of that. Like a redefining a line without putting it directly on top of the previous line or just putting it right beside it. And I think that's enough. I like the way the mouth was drawn. Very minimalistic, very simple. Nice Terminator line over here. It's a bit desaturated. And I think the reason is you already have this like super saturated red in the background. And it's also seen here sort of in the bottom part of the, or under the ear, and obviously the eyes. And some parts of the hair, the highlights anyway. So it kind of makes sense why the face would be, or pretty much the whole figure, the whole body would mostly be kind of toned down, kind of desaturated. Right? It's a great balance. Saturated on this side, right? And desaturated over on this side. And then you have the middle. It's like a yin and yang kind of thing, right? Where you have this one spot of saturation. Again, if you look at the hair, I don't see a lot of blending. I think it's just the flats. Flat colors. One value for the lights, one value for the shadows. You've got some reflected lighting over here. Let me just draw it, right? And you'll notice there's a bit of a greenish, a little bit of a green hue tint to it. This one has some underlighting. It's a bit warm, a bit orange, a bit red. I'm noticing the line work is not black for the most part. It's a bit gray. Some parts of it are kind of red, like this part over here. I'm guessing the line work is obviously on its own layer, but they're sort of painting on top of it, either with a clipping or a clipped layer, or they're doing it via locked pixels, right? Same thing here for the ear. Look at how light this part of the ear is. Line work anyway. And yeah, that's pretty cool. Like the shadows or the way the lighting affects how light and dark the line work will be. It's not just the actual like flat colors underneath. For example, if you look at the hair over here, it's going to be a lot darker, like focusing more on the line work. As you go further down, as it's being hit by light or this sort of spotlight, look at how the lines become a little more gray. I think it really adds to that effect. Pretty cool. Very, very cool. Like the line doesn't seem like it's above anything. Like it's really just a part of this character. Because I've seen artwork where the line work is like it's still different from everything else. So it doesn't seem like it's a part of the image, you know? But I think for this kind of approach, it just fits more. Like if you make the lines sensitive to the environment, I think it's going to be a lot more believable. If you compare this to say you just using black lines, I think this is going to be a lot better when you're using color. Because I don't know, it just fits. Unless you're just doing black and white or grayscale types of drawings, illustrations, sure, use black. But if you're going to plan on adding color, I think it's best as a general sort of approach to make the line, or to add colors to the lines as well, not just the flats underneath. Very cool, very pretty. And I think they're doing this for, I'm not sure if this is like an original character or something, but it's like a vampire guy. And obviously, I think this is the one we opened with. Very hot, very sort of sexy. I like the hair. It's kind of, they have like a long batch of hair in the back, right? And then they have this sort of bed hair looking thing. And again, when you zoom in, it's a rather big image. But look at how the line work is very... I mean, yeah, it's kind of sketchy, but it's a bit clean. I don't see a lot of hatch lines. I think they're very deliberate with their line work here. I guess they're not trying to be super tight with the line work. That's why it looks kind of gestural. But I can tell they're very deliberate with the edges. Yeah, some parts are a bit more gestural if it needs to be, but most of it is... The point is, it doesn't look cluttered, because that can happen when you're adding lines to your work, or if your style involves a lot of like shading or just line art. It can look cluttered if you're not paying attention, but I can also see some line weight variety. It gets darker here, gets heavier, thicker here, on the outer borders a little bit, but not too much. Like there's always it reminds me of some of the line work of... Who's that guy? Shojima? Damn. Soejima. Wait, let me just pause the video because I need to find that guy's name. Hi, I'm back. So I found their work. Another artist I would recommend is Shigenori Soejima. Let me just write their name down. So you can like find their name. I think I did an RGB of that a person before. Shigenori Soejima. How do you spell it again? Because I'm looking at another monitor over here. Shigenori Soejima. Oh, it's SHI Soejima. Yeah, pretty cool. And maybe Hanecha something. Hanecha _1220. Hanecha. Basically, the pen they're using to ink is not textured. I think it's like a basic round brush. Maybe the G pen in Clip Studio Paint. It has that sort of vibe where it can go from very thin to thick fairly quickly. Hanecha 120. And you know what? Maybe Kim Jacinto a little bit. Kim Jacinto. I believe Kim Jacinto is a comic book artist. Yeah, I just like this one. And the pose too, it's just such a sexy looking thing. I mean, you know? I like the wings. It has that succubus kind of vibe. Except it's a guy or a vampire. I love the dog sort of protective gear here. Kind of hot, right? And obviously nice feet, right? Long nails, very sort of animalistic, right? Like it's about to devour you. And look at the coloring, very simple. It's just a bunch of flats. You have a light value over here. You have some under lighting maybe. It's a little more desaturated, more gray. But that's pretty much it. Same thing here for the sweater. I think they have a bit of a turtleneck over here. I think they are using a mixer brush for some parts to sort of fade out some of those hard edges. I think it's a great sort of balance because almost everything here is like super harsh edge-wise. So if you just add some parts where it's a little more like soft, you can even see it a little bit in the hair, right? It just helps smoothen things out. Even the way the ear was rendered, right? Over here. Just adds a little bit of softness, which I think it really needs as more of a balance. I mean, it could still work without the blending brush or the soft sort of edges, but I think it's a good sort of addition. And look at how you can feel the folds with just a couple of lines, right? I really like it. And yeah, not a very complex, like, in terms of like the brushes, I think they're just all basic brushes. Now, in the case for the flats, I think they're using like a super hard brush. If not, they're just filling it with like a fill bucket tool and then painting on top of that. But when they do paint, it's still a hard brush, I think. Like you will see lots of areas where it's just like one flat color. So you have areas where it's just like, where your eyes are just more, they can just easily rest, I think. Right? Lots of space here, even in the wings. The whole thing is mostly in shadow, like 90% of it or 95%. But yeah, they're not very they're not complicating it too with detail, which I do like. They're very choosy with the lines, which I kind of want to replicate in my own work. Like they're doing just enough, which I really admire. This would have to be my favorite piece of theirs just because it's so freaking hot. Rawr. Anyway, let's go back. I want to see more stuff. And this one too, the red background sort of thing. This one's kind of okay too. Now this one does have, I think, a little bit of texture over here, as you can see, some noise texture, but it's very minimal. And yeah, they have a loose way of sketch. I think when they sketch with the inks, it's just straight to the point. Like if they don't like something, they'll just erase it on the very same layer, and then that's it. Because I know artists who will do like the whole pencil thing, and then they will do the inks, and then they will do another like layer of inks. But I think for this approach, I think it's more one layer for the inks, and then you try to figure it out in just that layer. You know, there's sort of that directness, which I really do like. Although I think you would need at least like one rough sketch, because look at how cool the hair is, the wing. Like it seems so well defined, like well thought of, or well thought out. So it's like doing this in one go seems kind of hard, or maybe they're just that good. Who knows? This one's kind of cool too. Let me just see more photos. Yeah, I think I like this one a little better. This one reminds me of that girl from Fire Force, the nun, Latom, that chick, Latom. I like the hair, like the braids. I think these are called like braids, right? Hopefully I'm right. Are they braids? But they're so like thick. Anyway. Yeah, I like how the hair, it's not just one color. It's not a flat color. Like you will see a bunch of different hues and values. Some yellows, some blues even. A little bit of a green touch here and there. I see a lot more pastel colors being used for this specific piece. Look at this Terminator line, or this subsurface scattering, I think. With I usually see this sort of orange-red line when it's on skin, but in this case, it's in clothing. So I'm not sure how accurate that is, but I do like how it looks. I think it's a good complement to everything else, because everything else is on that cooler temperature side. So adding a dash here and there of this like orange, it just makes it adds a little more warmth to the rest of the cooler parts, right? Same thing here at the edge of this like face, you will see some oranges in the bottom part. Even in the ears, it's kind of orange, right? See, I think this one, they have elf ears, maybe. Like this one, definitely. It has like a pointed tip. A little more orange, kind of bright, kind of vibrant. Now this one's a little more painted than, say, this guy over here. There is some painting, but it's not as there's a difference in values, definitely. But here, it's not just a value difference. There's a hue difference, meaning they're using a bunch of colors as well, and they're not just focusing on the lightness or darkness of something. I do see some blur effects being used. Yeah, very clean. Even the way they paint, it's they're not overusing the brushstrokes. Like, Like for example, this whole part of the shoulder or this arm, it's like a big area of rest over on this side. Same thing for the face, but that's very common for like anime faces. You don't want to over clutter or add too many details. You want to keep it somewhat flat. In a way, like most of the renderings actually in the eyes and maybe a little bit in the lips, but that's pretty much it. The color choice reminds me a little bit of John Kafka. Let me just write your name, John Kafka. Just the color like palette, John Kafka. I think they're using some kind of gradient map or filter in the end. Kafka. Yeah, it's been a while since I've reviewed John Kafka, but yeah, in this case, they still leave in that line work in, although it's kind of thin, kind of hard to see actually, but it's there. And it's still kind of dark, kind of black, close to black anyway. Pretty cool. We do have a processor. Let me just check this one out. Another vampire. So they have a rough sketch and then they just... Yeah, I knew it. They'll do like one layer for like the final line work and just figure everything out on that layer. And then the flats. And then the painting or rendering on top of that. Well, look at how clean it still looks. And you'll notice that in the rough sketch in the beginning, it's super like basic. They're just figuring out like the pose and everything, but once they're done with that, then they immediately jump into details. I think this would take a little longer than say the rendering, because you kind of have to think about things a little more. Here, I mean, yeah, you're still thinking, but it's not that you're not really designing anything as much shape-wise. It's more about making it look interesting. I mean, you are designing, say, the shadows, right? Making it look kind of realistic, but I think the mindset at this point is a bit different. Very cool. I like this one too. Reminds me of an anime named Banbaban something. I haven't finished it, but it's a super fun, very funny anime. Basically, it's a vampire guy who works in like a bathhouse. And yeah, there's so many interesting characters. It's just a fun watch. Very funny too. It has some BL vibes, boy love vibes, but that's not like the main thing. You know, it's like it's more about like, oh, look at this guy. Look at how crazy this thing is. Maybe there is a little bit of that RGB shift happening. I do see it. It does get blurry in the edges. Look at the line work. It's a little maroon, kind of red. Some parts are red, some parts are black. Those are some nice, pretty eyes. And look at that for the top part of the like. It only has like one major lash. Because in a way, you are kind of filling in the gaps anyway, so you kind of assume it's sort of everywhere. But it's so pretty. Even the lash, this one lash, same thing here. It has that red as well. And even the eyes, they look so freaking cool. The nose, I like the way people draw the nose in anime. It's so minimalistic. Like you don't even, it's like two lines and then a shadow. And I think they're wiping off some blood from their like mouth. Oh, so hot. Maybe they're just they're done feasting on someone's like flesh. Reminds me a little bit of a Call of the Night. But in that case, in that anime, do they have male vampires in that show? I don't think so. Oh, by the way, there's a recent trailer out, I think, for season 2. And I'm so glad they have a couple of foot shots, by the way, of that human character who kind of hunts vampires. But anyway, I love the knuckles. They look kind of hot too. Right? But even when they paint, again, look at how large, like this whole thing is just empty space. Same thing for this hand, like lots of areas where it's just empty. And then they just render certain parts, like the knuckles, maybe the areas and shadows, but that's it. or kind of intersecting points like this part over here, right? Very clean, very nice. Let me see this guy. I think it's an animation. I mean, look at that. Look at how hot he is. Yeah, it's the same guy. Long hair in the back. Bed hair kind of thing. Wavy hair on top. Pointy ears, red eyes, vampire teeth. Very cool animation. Oh shit, 56,000 likes. Very, very cool. I'm not sure what program they're using. Maybe Clip Studio Paint, who knows? But yeah, that's super hot. Oh, this is like the full image over here. Look at that. Let's see this guy. Oh, they did add a little bit of texture, but it's very minimal. It's on like a layer mode, or on its own layer. It's not like from the brush. Yeah, most of their brushwork is just with the basic round brush, I would assume. Right? And I think they did draw the pattern as well. They kind of have like pajama. It's not pajama. It's like a checkered looking set of pants. You know, I do like uniforms in school. It's sad because there are schools out there that don't have uniforms, so I feel like you're being robbed of an experience if you don't wear uniforms. Although back in school we were not allowed to wear like a jacket, a hoodie underneath the blazer or this sort of coat, which is so dumb. Like, you look really good, by the way, when you have a hoodie kind of under this whole jacket thing. Really sad, but and having to tie your tie in the morning, it's such, well, for boys anyway, but it's such an experience. Anyway, I love the eyes, super red, super saturated. Love the mouth, love the fangs. Pretty cool. Yeah, I like it. Lots of like soft blending here. Would say the mixer brush, I'm assuming. Even the way the folds were done for this like arm. Even the crotch area. Very odd. But again, if you focus on the line work itself, it's not too cluttered. Very sort of minimal. And just like they kind of hold back in a way. Even the way the zippers were drawn, they just drew like the actual thing you pull and then some of the teeth, and then that's it. You kind of assume it's sort of everywhere else, but you don't have to draw everything. You just fill in the gaps yourself. So you can have this mentality of, you know, being a bit choosy with the kinds of details you want to add in to your drawings, and just allow it to work for itself, or allow the viewer to figure things out on their own by giving them just enough information, right? Pretty cool. Let me see this guy too. And maybe they're a little bit clean, like Yoneyama Mai. Let me just write their name down. Yoneyama Mai. Yoneyama Mai. Oh shit, I do recommend you head over to the X page just because of how big the images are, and you can really enjoy it by zooming in. Like even the hands, like it's so freaking hot. Those eyes, piercing, right? Look at that. Obviously the hair, always a good thing. Again, double lines instead of just one line to say it all. Look at how thick the outer lines are here, but look at how fluid they are, where they're not just one line weight. They kind of go back and forth. It's almost like they're using a fine brush pen, or a fine brush, or a pocket brush pen. And it gives you more of that natural look, right? Because there are some inkers out there, people who like ink their work, but they're using like a very standard like heck pen or whatever, but the lines are just too consistent that it almost feels too mechanical. But this one does have that slight or a good amount of fluidity in it, you know. Very cool. So lots of focus, or lots of like vampires, I think, are a common theme. Another like page of sketches here, right? Basic brushes, some flats underneath, but that's it. And the flats are like gray. It's not like a complex batch of colors. It's just gray and then some like colors for the eyes, and then you have some pigmentation for the skin, for the blushing and the fingertips maybe, but that's it. Wait, let me see this. Is this an animation? Oh, it is. Kawaii. Kawaii. They're very cute. Very twink adjacent. Yeah, I really like this one just because it just makes me feel something a little more. I don't know. Oh, this one's so cool too. Lots of blurs. Very photographic in a way. Look at that eye. Amazing as fuck. Let's look at this one. I think there's more images over here. Interesting. So it's the guy with the purple hair. I like it. Can we zoom in? Right. Now for this one, I feel like they're a little more sketchy. And their lines have a lot more opacity in them. Like compare this to say their more recent work where you see it's a lot more refined. Focusing mainly on the line work, but look at this guy. That this guy is going mad. What about this guy? Pokemon? Oh, nice feet. Look at them toes. Anyway. So vampire Pokemon guy. I'm not sure if this is fan art or if there's an actual vampire in Pokemon. I don't think so, but oh, this guy's pretty hot too. Let me just see more of this stuff. Now this one does have it's very obvious, the RGB shift effect. Cat eyes. Meow. Yeah, it's so twinky. I mean, come on, look at this. I mean, even the animations are pretty freaking cool. Oh, I love it. Look at how simple it is, right? Like the brushwork, it's like hard brushes for the most part. Right? It makes you want to pounce on this freaking cat. Enough. Anyway, that's it for this art review. I think this one would still have to be my most favorite favorite piece. But I'm glad I saw like these types of sketches. The point is they have a lot of like fluidity in their lines, which I really do like. Even with just like rougher sketches, you can just tell they're very confident with, you know, just making their characters look interesting, even if they're like just sitting down. Oh, I like this one too. There's sort of a non-stagnation, you know, like it's not just, it doesn't feel boring to look at. This one feels more like a wallpaper. What? Come on. Maybe he's seeing something he's not supposed to. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Anyway, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed. I will link this page, by the way, in the description below. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.